Craig, we're back again. I asked for a week off. I even asked, can I go and make a sandwich? No, we are back because we have big news again. Paul Cook is in. The biggest shock in football, Craig. What's your immediate reaction?
Well, as you say, it's just come completely out of the blue, hasn't it? Just a name out of nowhere. Wasn't on anybody's radar. Neither of us have left our seats from Sunday. Sunday's 3 or 4 pods that we had to do. Isn't it just good news? I think universally accepted as being a good one. Hopefully this appointment.
And we are reacting to this in real time, by the way. So we will put up the Ipswich statement, which presumably is not come from Lee O'Neill, because there were lots of people interested. The owner's going to take his time. I've also just clocked that we're both wearing merch as well, which is on brand.
On brand.
We're doing things right, but we want to hear from you as well. Give us your shocked, surprised reactions. Now, give us your assessment of Paul Cook and whether you think that's a good appointment or not. There's clearly no choice anymore, so we all need to kind of rally behind him. But certainly, a lot of the stuff, Craig, that we've been hearing is positive, and his credentials speak for themselves, really, don't they?
Yeah, they do, 100%. As we spoke about the weekend, the various podcasts that are out that talk about the lower leagues predominantly rather than the Premier League, every single one of them has said that this is a good appointment should it go through. That of all the managers that are on the market and available, Paul Cook's the one that we should be looking to try and appoint. In regards to Evans, I don't know if actually I want to hear why Evans has appointed him, because hopefully in 2 or 3 weeks' time it won't have anything to do with him in any case. I want to hear an American voice telling me why they've appointed.
I can do that if you want. It's not so good.
Yeah, I think we've had enough of people trying those accents, haven't we, in recent days?
That's Graham Mack.
Yeah, hey Graham. But as I say, the podcasts have all said it. There was another one, the Totally Football show. I think Sam Parkin was on that one yesterday. I was listening to it last night, and again, they were saying exactly the same thing. And all of these podcasts, whether it be D3, D4, whether it be not the top 20, are all in the same boat as we are as fans. I don't care which podcast it is you listen to in regards to the Ipswich fans, that Lambert had run his course by a year, if you want, or even longer. And nobody could see even from the outside as to why he'd stuck around so long, and that again it should be Paul Cook that comes in. And say I wasn't too keen on Paul Jaw. I didn't know too much about Paul Hurst. Mick McCarthy we all know about. Paul Lambert just came completely out of the blue, was a done deal before anyone had a chance to even think about what was going on. So this one, I think, it's an upbeat. I think everyone should be pleased, and looking forward to the next few weeks and months of the season.
Yeah, and there was a few people who I know who've said that Paul Cook has been known. I mean, he's been known to all of us for a long time, but I think he's quite close with Marcus Evans, actually. So I know you said you wanted to hear the announcement by an American consortium owner, but I think this shouldn't be a surprising appointment in the main for anyone who knows Marcus Evans and the contacts that he keeps. And we heard a lot of chat, particularly around Christmas and into the new year, that regardless of the takeover, that Paul Cook was the favourite. So this shouldn't come as a surprise, regardless of whether you think Marcus Evans is going to stick around or whether there's a takeover imminent, which I think, to be honest, we all expect. And it was some interesting insights on Talking Town, wasn't there, about that one? But we'll save that for another day. Just to go through the statement.
Sorry, Rich, just to butt in there. What was quite interesting, actually, I was listening again to the Kings of Anglia last night, and Andy Warren was saying that he was told 2 years ago that the next Ipswich Town appointment would be Paul Cook. So, as you say, just to sort of back that up, that it was always understood within footballing circles that this was a go.
So Craig, let me get your thoughts on this. The former Portsmouth and Wigan boss has signed a contract until the summer of 2023 and becomes the 18th manager in the club's history, and promotions at all 3 of his most recent clubs Chesterfield in League Two, Portsmouth in League Two as well, and Wigan to League One. And to be honest, kept Wigan in the Championship all but for the points deduction, really, didn't he, as well? So
yeah, they were flying,
someone who's got super credentials, really, to be appointed Ipswich Town boss. And I'm just looking through here. We've got some statements from Marcus. I know you don't want to talk about those. I'm just looking. Has
Paul Cook's at the bottom?
Paul, there we go.
He's after promotion, mate. He wants promotion this season.
He will be in the stands to watch us tonight, following the COVID procedures, we hope. And I'm proud to be in this position. I'll be doing everything possible to repay the faith. Gotta love people who want to repay the faith, don't you, Craig? Marcus has shown me. Got to have faith. Winning promotion this season is the immediate target. It will be a big challenge, but it's a challenge that everyone at the club has a part to play in. There you go.
So reading between the lines, what he's saying is we're going up. That's pretty much what he said.
HMS, what's it, the league? We are in normal times, so we'll try and be family friendly, shall we? Let's do that. Let's not talk about whatever the thing we talked about at the start of the podcast when we did that kind of extra message that went on the top of it as well, the post-pod ... Anyway, let's hear some comments as well. Paul Strutt straight in there, straight off the bat, another step in the right direction. Fresh starts for Jackson and Nolan, please. And this could be an exciting end to the season. Come on, you Blues. Andrew Ramvat, by your own podcasters assemble. You've got the Iron Man and, well, what am I? The Hulk? I don't know. I'm Doctor Strange. I don't know. Well, give us your thoughts.
DC Comics and Avengers and
Black Widow.
What the other one is. I don't understand it all.
Hawkeye. Who's the yeah? Give us your nominations of which members of the Avengers Assemble team the podcast are. Maybe that's some Photoshop waiting to happen there. Andrew says great appointment as well. Good to hear that. Underscore ITFC, big statement of intent from the new regime. Got BM's done a very good appointment, the best Paul we've had. Just pausing on that. So I think waiting for the Renegade Statman to confirm this, or anyone else. Are we the first club in history to appoint a consecutive run of same named managers? And do you agree that of the Pauls we've had, Jewell, Hurst, Lambert, and now Cook, that he's probably the best in terms of credentials?
Maybe we could twin with St. Pauli. Is it in the Bundesliga? Yes. Are they still a thing?
Yeah. There you go. But is he the best Paul if we're doing top trumps of Pauls?
Well, that remains to be seen. He's certainly the baldest Paul.
Yeah.
He's the grappler. He's not the most scouse Paul. He's probably equal there, isn't he? Well, I don't know. He's that way, but I think you've got Paul Jewell when he was quite scouse.
Yeah.
But in terms of,
we'll do some work on this, shall we? We'll
that's a bit of merch. Yeah. Ipswich Town Paul top trumps is quite a niche top trump.
Kirkby, he's Kirby in Liverpool. Sorry, Kirby is the second K is silent. I know someone from there, so he's from that part of the world. So he's not. Where's Paul Jewell from? Is he Birkenhead or something? There's a fight there. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Mikey, like this video if you've ever worn a hoodie, especially an Ipswich Town hoodie. This is from, I think this is 17-18 possibly. That looks like 14-15 merch, Craig.
Possibly, mate. I think it is. I'm just so cold, mate. My heating packed up at the weekend. I'm just so cold. I've got like an undershirt. I've got a hot water bottle.
No, really? Is it that cold? Wow.
Not Ipswich Town branded hot water.
Well, there you go. If you're watching Planet Blue,
there's a gap in the market.
Bottles is what we want. Sam, players need to put in a performance night. Places up for grabs. George Hutchings, what a time to be alive at 12:17 on a Tuesday. Quite agree. Lewis, Pope Paul IV. Ryan, shocking, not got some Borat in there. On paper, top appointment. Now the players and the club must make it work. Here.
Well, we did say at the weekend. Sorry, we did say at the weekend, didn't we? That as and when the new manager comes in, hopefully they'll have some momentum behind them. And these 2 wins and recent results have given the momentum to the club and a bit of belief to the players. And as we know, there's a lot of players who are out of contract in the season who've now got something even more to play for than they probably maybe have had previously. So let's use this. Let's jump on this crest of a wave and see what we can do over the next few days. I know. Sorry, I'll let you go back to that comment in a sec. But the bookies are still allowing us to print money by, I think we're 5-2 to finish in the top 6, which seems.
Craig's consumer advice. I love it. This is
When the
routine.
fun stop. I know we said at the weekend, when the fun stops, stop. But printing money, people, 5-2 to finish in the top 6.
I need to say as well, there was the moment of panic after we stopped recording the pod and realised that Lambert had been sacked. But watching it back, and even the little clip that I put up, we navigated that pretty well, I think, and foresaw quite a lot of what was happening anyway. And to be, the Cook appointment sounds like some kind of investigation. The Cook report,
the Cook report. Yeah.
It's not a shock or a surprise. I guess it's the timing of the Lambert thing. But actually, what to be fair to Evans, if this is led by him, once a decision is made, we don't muck around, do we? And I think that's a good thing. You avoid the potential uncertainty or a hiatus of an appointment, which we did have with Hurst, albeit it was during the summer. It's good that we've not mucked around. Yeah. And to Evans' credit, he's been pretty consistent at Hurst's side of doing that, hasn't he?
Yeah,
so that crest of a wave that you're talking about, there's no lull there, is there? There's
no. Yeah, good point. But the thing is, I'm just intrigued to know how much Evans is involved in this. I know we're still, you listen to Lee O'Neill, there's nothing happening.
He's not involved, is it? Lee O'Neill,
He's certainly not involved. Yeah, you and I know far more than he does. But I say it'd be interesting to know how much involvement that Evans has had and what that sort of conversation has been had, and who he has actually been talking to in terms of, okay, well, I'll run things until the next 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. But from the summer onwards, who am I talking to then? So, he must be going into it with his eyes open, knowing that there'll be a different accent on the phone, end of the phone, possibly come April, May.
Hopefully there'll be a chief exec rather than who will be next door. That's what we want, isn't it? Rather than like Marcus has been and a phone call or a video call away. Let's look at through the comments. Ian Burke, superb appointment. Let's go and get promotion now. Damn right. Roger, great news for Ipswich Blue Horses kickball franchise. Kick that soccer ball. Joe, as we mentioned, Andy Warren said he's told Cook would be the next manager 2 years ago. There's something around, I think Daryl Murphy and Paul Cook might be represented by the same people. I think that's maybe have been an in there or something. But and there you go. Thanks for reading my mind, Craig. What member of the Avengers can read people's minds? Are you Scarlet Witch or something? I'm going to keep this link going from Run Fat Boy Runs.
You might as well be talking a completely different language, mate. I have no idea what you're.
You need to get on Disney Plus, mate, and go through them in chronological order.
Disney Plus. I've got Sky, BT Sport, I've got Now TV, Netflix. You asked me to subscribe to yet another.
Get Disney Plus. It's the best. It's not. Mullet, watch your lads. Another poll. Then, do you think he'll sign Will Keane? I'd give you a one-word answer. Mullet, go on, Craig.
Speaking about Disney, let it go.
Hey, there we go. Mullet's not going to like that. Crablet 81, if that's your name, could be a perfect springboard to get us into the championship with a perfect time. Yeah. As we said, the form on the pitch and now some suddenly positive moves off the pitch. There really feels like there's some momentum, as you said, Craig. That is there an excuse for us to not be promoted? Is it there's too much change? Too much change.
Well, no. As I say, let's just hopefully ride it and see where it takes us. I'm just intrigued to know how much will actually change. And now we've sort of hit on a winning formula and a winning pattern of play. How much will Cook need to and want to change? To go back into how he likes to play historically, or does he just let things go as they are and tinker with it accordingly? He's not. I know Katie's online again. She was online at the weekend chatting to us. She'll know more about it, but we're led to believe it's a 4-2-3-1 at the moment. We're sort of playing a 4-4-1-1 if you want to.
I think it's a 4-2-3-1 at the moment, isn't it?
You think?
Yeah, I think you could justify. Yeah. You could just about argue it. It's a bit amorphous.
Yeah.
But
But let's see how he works it and say how he works with what he's currently got.
Is there a chance that his notes might have been passed secretly under the table to Matt Gill and Jimmy Walker the last few weeks?
Conspiracy. I like it. Which Avenger makes up spurious conspiracy theories?
None. I'm this. Yeah. I want to see these in the comments, by the way, because you can pick anyone for Craig, and he's not going to know who it is. You could say Superman or Batman, and he's not going to know.
You could pretty much say anything from the last 20 years of yeah.
Sindre, Sindre, can you confirm that I'm pronouncing your name correctly? Because you are a really useful contributor, and I don't want to be butchering your name, which is, I assume, Scandinavian. So hopefully I've got it right. If I've not, can you correct me below in the chat? Emergency pods, are you on a new full-time jobs? Both Craig and I have full-time jobs, and this is my lunch break that I was about to go and make a ham sandwich, and I'm going to have to go into my afternoon meeting hangry. So apologies in advance to my team who will not be watching. So they're none the wiser. Really happy with this one. My bet on promotion 8-1, which I placed in January, doesn't look too impossible now. Is that better odds than what you've got, Craig?
No, 12. They were 12-1 at the weekend. I've had a little dabble. They're now 7-1. Actually, that's one thing I was going to say. They were 12-1 when we spoke on Sunday. They're now 7-1, so they've dropped quite dramatically. But
Craig's influencing the market.
I'd still, yeah, that £5 has made Paddy Power sweat. That top six though, 5-2 for the top six seems a bit generous. But
and I think Joe stuck in a £1 bet on Paul Cook getting the job, and which returns £1.05. So Joe is rolling in it. The drinks are on Joe tonight. Jordan cooking up some green shoots. Yeah, maybe I'll have some green shoots for lunch. Dennis, hello to Dennis. A great appointment. I hope it goes well for you from a Norwich supporter. Dennis, good to hear from you. Thank you for that. James Gold, my mate James, Warwickshire alum. Important work meeting at work. Yeah, exactly. I'm in the StreamYard suite for this meeting, and we're talking about recruitment strategies. That's
synergies.
We're talking about purchasing stationery and all the important stuff. Jack, Paul Cook's Barmy Army, exactly right. What is the Paul Cook chant going to be? I want to hear some suggestions, because Paul Cook's Barmy Army a little bit standard. I wanted the Ready Steady Cook thing. I like, I
want to hear the whole North Stand singing "My Cookachoo" by Alvin Stardust while all wearing one black leather glove. There you go.
Chucking out the references today.
Sling Your Revenge, stuff from the last 10 years can go hang when I want references from 40 years ago.
I could put a filter in the camera to make it black and white if you'd prefer, Craig.
Sepia, mate.
Sepia. I hope you guys have paid your TV licenses to watch the live stream as well. Call me Stat. Is the Stat Man? No, Paul has won their first game in charge of ICFC. There you go. Well, I think he'll be attending but won't be in the dugout tonight. So
what constitutes in charge, Stat?
Yeah, I think.
Does he have to be in the dugout?
What if he? It's like Derby when they appointed Steve McLaren. What if they we're 2-0 down at halftime and Paul Cook dashes down to the dressing room at halftime and turns it into a 2-2 draw? That would be exciting, wouldn't it? What I'm going to do is, because I can see him and I assume he's joined not to be polite and to say hello to us secretly, but it's to contribute. Joining us to make this a tripod of Avengers.
Of wasters.
Hi, Ben.
A tripod of wasters. This is the most ridiculous 36-hour news cycle. Look at me. This is.
He didn't have a beard, or the hair was short before.
No, it's all gone. It's all gone grey as well. But Rich, you've been an absolute trooper, and Craig as well. Seems like we've been live with the breaking news siren for about.
Keep it a 24-hour channel.
It's been we're like in the Truman Show. That's what we are.
36 hours straight, isn't it? Right. I've just done my research, and hopefully I can bring a bit of the championship angle, particularly as it pertains to Wigan, to this discussion. I haven't heard anything you've said, so I don't want to repeat anything. Katie knows more about Wigan than any of us, by the way, but I will do my best. Obviously, Rich, you and I sat together at the DW tail end of the 18-19 season. Wigan are going to finish in 18th place then, weren't they? We got a 1-1 draw. Should have won the game, if you remember. And if Will Keane hadn't got injured, recurring theme, I think we would have. And he was trying to build that team, and he lost Nick Powell, didn't he? And it was a bit of a sense of Reece James was kind of ridiculous, wasn't he? And it was one of those Maddison at Norwich situations where you got this one player who's so much better than everybody else. But in the 1920 season, Wigan were fantastic, and they clicked halfway through the season. And this is a ridiculous number, Rich. I just clipped the table from the 28th of January to the end of the season, last 18 games. Only Leeds scored more points than Wigan in the Championship from the end of January. This is the team of David Marshall, who's now at Derby, Nathan Byrne, who's also at Derby, Cedric Kipre, who's in the Prem with West Brom, Che Dunkley, who's with Sheffield Wednesday, Anthony Robinson in the Prem with West Brom, Williams, Bristol City. And then these names, Morsey is in the top 8 in the Championship with Borough. Kiefer Moore, we know very well, is in the top 8 in the Championship with Cardiff. Jamal Lowe is in the top 4 of the Championship with Swansea. Cal Naismith
games. I know he's alone.
Come back with Luton, and Kieran Dowell's obviously with Norwich. So what I'm saying is Paul Cook built a really, really good Championship team that's been gutted, and they're all playing either sort of in the top. They're all in the Championship basically, and other than the ones that went to Derby and they had a horrific start to the season. What I'm saying is the last sample of Paul Cook's work in English football is very good.
Did you mention Reece James? I chucked it in there because I was too busy throwing comments on the screen. Did you say Reece James?
Yeah, so Reece James was the previous season. And
was it? Yeah.
Yeah, what I was saying, Rich, is there's almost a sense of the Madisons of Norwich where they had one player who was so much better than the rest of the team that almost the team was better balanced without them, even though, Craig, that sounds ridiculous because he was the best player. But you know what I'm saying, right?
I'll chuck more comments and questions up, guys, and maybe
What I'd also say to people is, there's the stuff out there on YouTube. There's plenty of Paul Cook interviews on YouTube, aren't there? He comes across very, very well when he chats, whether it be to other podcasters or fans. I know Katie, he's chatted to a Wigan fan for 3/4 of an hour, 50 minutes on a YouTube channel as well. So if Town fans want to go and see what the guy's like and see how he talks and how he comes across. So there's plenty of stuff out there for people to go and have a look at.
Yeah, we shared the one.
Can I highly recommend just type Wigan 8 Hull 0 or 1, whatever it was, into YouTube. That was the culmination of Wigan being brilliant and Hull being terrible. Incredible performance at the end of last season under Paul Cook. Sorry, Rich.
I was just going to say we shared one with the top 20 podcast guys. I think I always get that name wrong. Expect there's more words at the end of it. And we shared that. And Mikey's doing a show tomorrow that will probably go out on Thursday with some Wigan and some Pompey fans getting their insights too. It's a shame we didn't do that a little bit earlier just to preempt this, but the news cycle is moving faster than any of us.
On our 24-hour Ipswich Town channel, Richard.
Yeah, Rich, can you sort out some sort of yellow banner thing just going on the bottom?
Oh, he can. Yes, he can.
Yeah.
There it is.
Have a
I just need to Skywire a breaking news one, don't I? Anyway, let's not mucking around with this functionality of StreamYard. Yane, should we worry that he can't bring his usual staff? And then Katie's helpfully responded. Katie, we need to get you on this show. It's much easier that way. All I know is Cook and Richardson, as in Liam Richardson, who's the current manager of Wigan, contracted until 2022. So there will be an interim assistant if it isn't Liam Richardson in the longer term that will need to come in, and probably Matt Gill is fair enough as an option for that. Craig, would you say, or Ben?
Well, just quickly want to add, I don't want to upset Katie, but Wigan have got no money, and compensation. I hate to say it, compensation can get these people often, can't they? And we think Noel Hunt and Gary Roberts. Noel Hunt is front and centre of the Pompey promotion celebration. I'm a bit loath to talk about Ipswich hiring managers with promotions on their CV because only really Mick had that and did well, but it is very impressive. And not just promotions, championships with Chesterfield, Pompey and Wigan as well.
And beating Man City in the FA Cup live on the telly as well, which
yeah, right,
very memorable. What else have we got here in the chat?
Stat says is the oldest managerial appointment in ITFC history. It was quite interesting, isn't it?
Is that in the chat?
And also the most recent.
It's also
as in the youngest.
The most current. Oh, Mullet, come on, let it go. We were saying it. What else? Oh, here we go. Oh, there's a Keane debate going. Don't take Keane off us, please. Well,
I mentioned him, didn't he? I'll take the heat. I'll take the heat on that one. Will Keane is Rich. You were there with me, weren't you? Will Keane played really well that day, and of course, Will Keane did Will Keane things. Scored the pen, and then we played really well that day in Lambert's 15th different formation of the season. Yeah, so we're expecting, and Katie's right. This idea of a physical number 10 as well, guys, that it was Nick Powell, who's really doing great things for Stoke in that position now, and then Kieran Dowell. So I don't really know this idea of having a second striker who's not it's what Troy Parrott is doing right now, actually. So whether he fits that role or not, but they were so good with Kiefer Moore and Jamal Lowe and Kieran Dowell and Naismith and Jacobs. Some real filthy performances. Yeah. He built a really good team.
Avengers suggestions are coming in. Thanos and Loki. I don't know who Mullet's directing those to, but presumably Loki is an insult because we're slagging off Roy Keane.
And probably Thanos is an insult.
It'll be something to do with my hair as well. No one goes. I never go 5 minutes on the internet before having my hair mocked.
To do with my chins, maybe. Ready, steady, cook, great stuff. George McCarthy, hungry is the worst. Start making me hungry by chucking food words in there.
Are you hangry? Are you, Rich? Did I miss this?
Do you want that?
No.
There you go, mate.
Got nothing. I've not even got chewing gum here. I might start eating my own. No, I want to.
Well, Craig, isn't every Ipswich managerial appointment a potential banana skin over the last? Well, other than Mick over the last
quick
5 years.
I knew there was a reason we added him into the.
You can mute me if you want.
Who is the worst Paul? Jewel, Hurst, Lambert, or Daniels? Nothing wrong with Daniels.
Definitely not Daniels. Absolutely not.
I've been on stage with Paul Daniels, but that's
go. Stop. Go.
Tell us.
Tell me more about that.
Right, it was the Edinburgh Festival, so it was probably about 2002, maybe, in an old church hall, and the lovely Debbie McGee dragged me up on stage. I think it was more due to the fact that I'm 6'4" and Paul Daniels is 5 foot zilch, and I stood on stage with him and did a little trick with him. If you look on YouTube, you can see there's a Paul Daniels trick, right, where he has two guys sitting on two chairs, and he's in the middle, and he goes between each of them. Yeah, and he's doing the trick to one of them, and as he's doing the trick to one of them, the other guy is getting electric shocks and jumping out his chair, right? And that's the trick I was in. I won't tell you how it. Well, anyway. So yeah, I've been on stage and I know how that trick works, and it's not quite as complicated as you may think.
Oh, don't ruin the magic, Craig. Was he there?
Sensational.
So were you the stooge then? Or were you the?
Yeah. And he very much plays on the psychology of the stooge not wanting to let the crowd down.
Okay, so you were well, there you go. There's a claim to fame.
No, it's not Daniels. It is definitely Lambert.
Okay, thank you. Good.
To answer the question.
Bringing us back to the question. I was prepared to explore the psychology of what you just told us about, but I think now is not the time, and I have got work to go back to at some point. Let's go back to the comments. Daniel, hopefully, can bring some cohesion back to the players and club facilities. And here we go from Sindre again. I know Cook likes his flying fullbacks, which makes me afraid that Chamber won't play. Hopefully, he moves to CB, centre back, and develop all these acronyms. It develops a good relationship with Paul C. Hasn't got along with the two former ones. I mean, Chambers is getting on a bit anyway. So the idea that he's going to be Paul Cook's first choice right back for beyond this season, you know.
Well, yeah. I was thinking, I don't know what happens, you know, in the summer in terms of club captains, and that's an important relationship, isn't it? Managers and captains, and he may have his own ideas about who's around and who's available. Because as someone else has said in the chat, you know, there's a potentially a rather large turnaround of players and a clean slate in the summer, isn't there?
In terms of Cook specifically, though, Rich, Chambers, that's a perfectly good point. That Chambers is far more a Cook centre back than he is a right back, isn't he? In terms of that double pivot is going to sit there, but you want that extra midfield overload from the fullbacks, and that was Naismith, and obviously I know we coo over him latterly, Reece James, wasn't it? Nathan Byrne, who's a fine fullback as well. It's a shame all of these players have already been vultured away from administration-ridden Wigan last season. Sorry, that sounded really awful. It's obviously a shame for Wigan in the first place, but
We're sympathetic.
Don't expect him to be able to pick up any Wigan players. Put it that way.
No, and hopefully he's got if he's able to spot the talent, or he knows he's got staff who can spot the talent, then hopefully they've got the list anyway. Because this summer is going to be a free for all in the whole. If we're in League One anyway, it's a free for all for all clubs, isn't it? And potentially even the Championship level as well, Ben, potentially. So there will be bargains to be had, and there will be players out of contract, left, right, and centre.
Oh, so hundreds and hundreds we're expecting, isn't it? Yeah.
Craig, can you tell us about this one? Because I don't think Ben or I care about cricket. Is there a good Alistair Cook jar?
I care about the fact that Craig cares about cricket, and if it makes Craig happy, then obviously I care about that.
Well, I think it's
Finn Bauer.
Well, Ben will know. Ben will know this. I think the Alistair Cook chant is "Daddy Cool" by Boney M.
Sing it.
Ali Cook.
I think. I don't quite remember that. I think that's what it is. Yeah, not Belfast by Boney M. That's it. I'm pretty sure. I don't know.
Hello, kids. By the way, we're on TikTok as well. If you want to watch over there, we're not.
But that means it won't scan, will it? Because Ali doesn't scan with Paul.
Yeah, I think that won't work. So back to the drawing board. Status clarified.
Yes, so I'd say Ben wasn't here when we were talking Alvin Stardust. I still think that's our best bet.
Yep.
How did you? Oh no, Alvin Stardust is different to Leo Sayers. I won't tell my story. Karen.
I was just checking in on Popmaster.
Literally a different person.
I haven't done it this morning, mate. I've got to do it on catch up in a sec. Yeah.
Stat is in the dugout asterisk, so we should.
I was being facetious. Stat. My apologies.
Yeah, so we're okay there. We're not going to jinx it. My pronunciation of Sindre's name is close enough, but not perfect. I will work on it. I will DM you separately to figure out what I need to do.
Come on, Richard. Don't you know, as a football pundit on the internet, that you are required to pronounce everybody's name in the specific tongue of where they come from, including Spanish.
Yeah,
not that we get held to a ridiculously high standard, and it's a bit of a bee in my bonnet. But what are you going to do?
If folks are going to take the time to message in, we should do them the courtesy. I think there's a really good sketch by a comedian called Limmy, who I like, who parodies people, news reporters doing that exact thing of drilling into names of towns and drifting into the pronunciation to sound clever. So maybe we'll need to start doing that.
The old Gab Marcotti whenever he pronounces an Italian player's name.
TZJ Man. Presumably we're going to keep hiring Pauls until one works out. How many left? Who's the next one?
Absolutely. Sounds like a solid strategy to me. Only Paul's allowed
in 10 years time.
Oh, we'll have Paul Pogba, on a free transfer, please. That'd be very nice. Yeah. Paul Scholes.
Yeah, there you go. Well, he didn't work at Oldham, did it? And I quite like him with the Salford. Have you seen the Class 90 documentary? Where he's just
training. Yeah, just ping balls around. Yeah.
Exactly. Just going to ping it across the field as he do. Alan, one of the last matches I attended was West Brom v Wigan. Wigan won 1-0. It was a perfect performance. Very excited for this. And what else?
To add to that, West Brom obviously promoted in second place. So that's Wigan going away to a team who are ultimately going to bully their way up out of the Championship.
Like Ipswich away at Hull.
There you go. We remember the good old days, Katie, as well. A year ago yesterday, we became the first and only team to beat Leeds and West Brom away. Give them a bit of time, things will click. Yeah, I remember when we used to beat good teams as well. Katie, those days will come back for you guys, I'm sure. Will Airy, here we go. Will, great news. Not so great news for my productivity at work this afternoon. No, I will be in meetings and have Twitter updating as well, as I have done for most days. Hello, employer.
I've been on the verge of a sort of weird nervous breakdown for about 36 hours now. As you know, at the moment, I'm completely wired on coffee, and my body is not functioning in any safe way.
Well, you're back on tonight as well, Ben, aren't you? You're reacting to Accrington at full time, aren't you? So
I'm doing a Championship prediction stream in 18 minutes as well over on my channel. So.
we'll go on for 10 more minutes or so because I need a sandwich.
Oh, dear.
I'm enjoying all of our Australian and American colleagues who are chiming in at different times of the day than we normal. Good day to Michael. Good evening, I should say, to Michael from Brisbane. All Change It Town, Director of Football Next. I mean, if one person has done themselves potentially out of a role, or at least the role they have at the moment, Craig, it's Leo Neal, isn't it? I mean,
yeah,
I think we have sympathy for him because he's got about 6 different briefs, but he has been put out into the media yesterday, and
with nothing to add, was it?
Now, doesn't he?
It was pretty sad, wasn't it? He just wheeled out for no reason, couldn't tell us anything that we didn't already know, had no authority to pass on any sort of update that was of any relevance to anything. So we spoke about it the weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if he's wheeled away from the human shield aspect of his job now back to what he was doing perfectly okay before he decided was starting to be lumbered with everything else other than it. I think he does a good job over in the academy side of things, over at Playford Road. So I'm sure he'll be looked after, and when the new guys come in, that structure that we've all been calling out for is put in place at Portman Road. It'd be for the better for everyone.
Give him a second season in the academy
with an HR hat on, Rich. You can, if he's a general manager, so you can bring in a director of football and move one aside without breaking any naughty rules.
Just give him a chance. I'm sure all of us have felt like we were put in a really difficult position by our employer by saying, "Oh, can you just do that?" Or "Can you just do that as well?" So I'm sure Leo Neal's looking for a little bit more focus so that he can actually succeed in, rather than having to speak to club media or whoever.
Craig? Sorry, Craig. Do you know Human Shield by Stiff Little Fingers? It's been in my head since you said Human Shield.
No, I'm not a great fan of Stiff Little Fingers. Mate. They don't crop up on Popmaster too often.
I'll DM you. It was the bassist from the Jam. What's his name? Bruce Foxton. That's it. Sorry, Rich. Go ahead.
16 minutes for your championship live stream, Ben, just to remind you. Good evening to Ben as well, my primary school mate. Cannot sleep after hearing the news. Way too excited. That's good, Ben. Finally, some excitement for you.
Does Ben Southgate enjoy it every time Southgate out trends, which it does every time England concede possession in a football match?
Similar to me when Ed Woodward gets stick at Man United and without trends. Fugly Cankles, looking forward to hearing his first interview. So am I. Yeah, I think
me too.
To hear from the horse's mouth, straight from the horse's mouth, as it were. What else have we got here?
Rich, first interviews are always great, aren't they? You listen to them, literally any manager at any club, because they're all such good talkers, and you're like, oh my God, a dynasty is starting. We're going to win for the next. Literally every manager you hear is great, isn't it?
And we're going to get a lot of, as to Craig's point as well, we're going to get a lot of attention, positive attention, I think, for the appointment. And Craig, Craig, you need to help me. I think it's Craig Ablett. I think is. Your profile name is kind of a little bit. It's your Twitter handle there. How does Marcus Evans pull? Not generally. How does he pull?
He's loaded.
These decent appointments out of the bag, despite being a Clamsiana. It's a good point. I mean, fair play to. I did try to give credit to Marcus Evans, even though potentially there are other forces at work here potentially takeover wise. But fair play to him.
Yeah,
championship club snooping.
Yeah, this one's a little bit different, isn't it? Because we don't know who's making the final decision on this particular appointment. As we said earlier on, you can probably assume it's maybe not Evans that's rubber stamped it, should we say? But I think that the previous ones is he just gives managers time, doesn't he? He gives them enough time to hang themselves, gives enough rope and enough time for them to adequately hang themselves, and then at the end of it, the same comments are made by those same managers is that. I didn't get enough support. You think these guys walk into it knowing the gig and then complain about the gig once they've walked out the other end.
Irvin, here's an interesting line. Is Marcus staying? Well, I think we're pretty confident that the takeover it's going through the due diligence stage, isn't it?
Richard, the more they tell me that this has nothing to do with the new owners, the more I believe it has everything to do.
Yeah, well, depends. If Leo Neal's telling you something, then you know what to think, isn't it?
Whenever they say it's not about the money, it's always about the money.
Daniel, is this Paul thing like Doctor Who? Are they regenerating from the same Time Lord? Yeah, there we go.
Absolutely,
exactly that. Factually
exactly
correct.
That. Yep.
Ginger Eagle, I can feel the wind in the water tonight. The stars are aligned. Everyone. Optimism. I've not experienced this on the pod, Ben. I don't think I've had.
You were there for the early Paul Hurst days. That was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, until the new era. Until
we realised that we were crap.
It'd just be nice, wouldn't it? Like on a day like today, it's bright sunshine. You get an appointment like this at midday. There'd be so many people just right. Okay, here we go up the A1. Let's go to Acton and watch an evening game. It'd just be fantastic. There'd be doubling, if not trebling, their attendance just for tonight.
Yeah, it'd be full of Ipswich fans tonight, wouldn't it? That's such a shame. What else have we got here? You can see Cook loving having Harrop at his disposal. Similar skill set to Kieran Dow, Ben.
Yeah, it's that mixture of the extra physicality that Nick Powell or Kieran Dow gives you as well. It's just weird, though, to Brad's point, that we just don't know this splurge of loan players. That did feel very short-termist, but we'll see what Mr. Cook is able to do with them.
More people saw that Wigan Leeds game. Is Howard?
Can I push back on that? Wigan won at Elland Road twice, and I think Leeds had about 75 shots combined in the two games. It was the West Brom win. I would suggest that not wanting to go too hard against. It wasn't pretty, and one goal. Yeah, okay. But the West Brom one was far more viable. That was a very Bielsa Leeds in the Championship demise. Anyway, not important.
Jake, yes, Cook will be there tonight, and thank you, Ashley, for.
Rich, did you see Nigel Pearson just sitting looking moody at Middlesbrough the day before he took over, and all the Bristol City players played really well and won 3-1?
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Sat there.
I watch it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Nigel Pearson, it looks like he owns a traction engine now. He's got the waistcoat sorted out. Michael, is Paul Cook a manager who brings through young players or brings in older players from other clubs? Any thoughts on that, Ben or Katie? Feel free to chip in.
I haven't seen much evidence of many young players coming through, but obviously there was Joe Gerlhart, who was at Wigan last season, who's now at Leeds, who got some minutes, but obviously Kiefer Moore was doing such a good job. Kate will tell you, there's Gerlhart there. There was another Wigan player who went to Brighton as well. She'll tell you the name. So there were players there. There was always that really good Wigan Everton link up, etc. So good loan knowledge and good connections there, particularly for potential loan players.
Jacob, let's start thinking about. I want people's predictions in the comments as well for tonight. 10-0 Ipswich, that kind of stuff. Do you think the team sheet tonight will be the same as the last two? Craig, we talked about this on excellent episode 414 podcast, which is available on good YouTube and podcast outlets. We thought that there would be a moderate amount of rotation given some of the personnel involved on Saturday, particularly the likes of Chambers, maybe.
Yeah,
or do you think go for it?
I don't know. Actually, I was thinking about I don't know. I'm just trying to remind myself who was looking a little bit leggy at the weekend.
Norwood was a little.
Yeah, but again, you want him to start, don't you? And you think Judge. Well, you want him to start. Bishop played quite well at the weekend. Obviously, you want to get Downs in the team just to add a bit of energy in there. But then, who out of Bishop and Dazelle do you drop to free up the space? Bennett's might fall out for Edwards.
Thomas, depending on loan counting.
Yeah. But I say Parrott and Norwood have been playing well, haven't they, as a pair? We don't think Jackson's going to be in the squad tonight, which is a bit of a shame. So yeah, I don't know if there'll be maybe two or three, maybe just a couple, just to see if we can get through this one last game.
Just on that podcast 414, you have no idea what troopers these guys are. They literally recorded the pod, and we're talking minutes, and none of them moaned about it. They got straight back on and did it again. So, and I was in bed, so I'll give you that one.
Literally walked out that door. We had a little chat, didn't we, afterwards, Rich? After the pod, little chat. I thought, oh, God, right, go downstairs, watch a bit of crap telly, shut that door, check my phone. Arthur, who the hell time's it been?
Pulis at Wednesday was worse. That was 11 p.m. I think he got fired. Sorry, Rich.
I literally walked out of the front door because what I do is I leave the podcast episode. It has to all nerdy digital rendering and stuff like that. So I go out for a late night walk at 9:30, and I'd literally shut the door, locked it, and was walking down the pavement, and then my phone lit up, and I turned around and went, oh, and then walked back upstairs.
You didn't. You went back, clicking your heels all the way up the street,
exactly,
and it was like looking at the winners.
Shouting and screaming in the middle of Warwick, and no one knew what it was about.
Richard, imagine the scene, right? Car park behind Hollywood's in Ipswich. I'm filming my Barnsley v Ipswich match review, so obviously I've got my phone on flight mode. Finish it, right? Here we go. Upload. Switch the phone back on. Mick McCarthy has quit as Ipswich manager. You're like, oh, thank you, universe. Yeah. Baby, give it up. No.
To be fair, it's my favourite football chant of all time for Joby McAnuff, which I loved.
Good work.
Paul Cook.
Everybody wants you.
Paulie Cook.
Katie, I just wish him all the best. Such a class guy. Never forget when he went up and he was on the Peroni in the party. He
looks like he likes a high percentage beer, doesn't he?
He likes a cup of tea, doesn't he, Katie? He does. He's always got a cup of tea in his hand, hasn't he?
Quite right. Tea. And yeah, good for him. Great news, the Paul Cook's appointment. I think the takeover will happen later this week. I don't know if that's a question, Daniel, or not. But I think nothing would surprise us, right, guys? And as we said, the laptop is constantly on now with the StreamYard set up just in case we need to do a live show. But nothing would surprise us, right, if maybe by the weekend or maybe in the next couple of weeks that's done and dusted too, and then we can properly look forward with.
Yeah, we don't know how long these things take, do we? But as I say, we can only sort of relay what the actual journalists are reporting, and that is that deals are with the EFL to be ratified, and as soon as that's done, you'd think that we can all start scratching Marcus Evans off the front.
Craig, if you're Paul Cook, the owners and directors test, just merely those words will send a shiver up your spine after the previous owners and directors. Or PG Tips, it's blooming cold in Wigan, isn't it? Cold and windy out in that stadium, isn't it? But yeah,
after what got angry then when he went to the DW.
Annie, I know Richard has obviously got a vested interest in Mark Ashton.
Bristol City fan, isn't he?
Yeah, they're all quite anti-Ashton. I think mainly based on the last appointment and maybe holding on to Streaky Lee. But the trend has been clearly upwards at Bristol City, hasn't it? I must say, I know Glenn as well. Hello, Glenn, who said about Alistair Cook.
Oh, there we go. Yep. Guys, I'm gonna start wrapping this up. Albeit the numbers are keep going up. So thank you for joining us partway through the stream.
It's good to know we've got a fan base full of wasters. It's not just us.
Blame COVID. Can I just mention one thing? Excellent bit of S. Housery in the club statement that said played for these clubs amongst others, steadfastly refusing to mention the 2 seasons.
Appearances, is it?
Yeah, had at Norwich City in the late 80s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm going to put this up just as we sign off. There's a few plugs before we go. We've got the live show, the match reaction full time with Ben and Dave.
And you'll get to hear from David Diamond about all of this.
And we'll get his views on that. So definitely want to get involved in all of our stuff from the weekend. The Takeover one on Friday, the flagship show on Monday, the Lambert Out on Sunday night, the impromptu Lambert Out pod, all available. So get involved in that. Guys, just before we sign off, score predictions for tonight before we say goodbye.
I'm going to go along with Seb, who said that weekend 2-0. I'm going 2-0 now. They'll be playing with a spring in their step. Come on, we'll do this.
Yep. Ben?
Yeah, I'm in my 5 yearly. If 1 year's annual, I'm in my 5 yearly day of optimism. Yeah, I don't know what 5. Is there a special word for half a decade based on Latin or something? I'm in my 5 yearly day of optimism, Rich. So let's go away win.
Away win. Narrow away win as well. Thank you for watching. And Paul Cook in.